Has anybody ever said, I understand, I get it, oh, I know exactly what you're going through? And the first mental thing you do is what? No, you don't.
The new Flat Rate Podcast. For contractors ready to boost tickets, simplify business, and gain freedom. Welcome back to part 2 of our conversation with Rory Krueger, co-owner of Krueger Heating and Air Conditioning. If you missed part 1, go back and give it a listen. We left off right as Rory was about to answer why growing revenue doesn't always mean a healthy business. Today we pick up right there and go even deeper. How Rory tracks profit down to the truck, why he trains his team to take care of the homeowner and not just the equipment, and the one person he says should never be your business accountability partner. And now your host, me, Natalie Cope, and your co-host, Danielle Putnam. So a lot of contractors think if revenue is growing, the business must be healthy. But that's not always true, right?
It is not always true. We look at, again, when we look at top line revenue and we're not getting it down on a granular level, and we can even look at top line revenue, we can look at just, gross profit, but gross profit doesn't tell the whole story. Because we're not breaking it down. We're also I'll speak to the HVAC world, when you're not breaking it down by service truck and installation department or installation departments. So each truck for us is another, in the installation world, there's 2 gentlemen in that truck or 2 team members in that truck. That is a whole department right there. Then we're going to add a second one and a third one. Just like I have a service technician and a service truck, that is his department. And we're tracking the profitability and revenue of that one truck and that individual, because then I can go in and we can do one-on-one coaching. We can coach as a team and a group. So if I've got one team member who's maybe struggling, then we can role play. And I haven't mentioned that word yet, but we can role play as a team, and we can overcome areas of objection, because when we handle all of those up front and we set that stage, and then we make it easy for the consumer to buy from, and we present them with options that are easy to pick from, and then ask the fabled question of what should we do? Now you've given them all the relevant information they need to make an informed decision.
Yeah, no, very neat. I like how you're telling everybody that you break it down. Each one's a department, it's its own unit. And that way you can isolate problems or opportunities.
Yeah. So again, it's looking at that, and when we're looking at that, we're able to track that. So if I've got a truck that we're not getting our ticket revenue out of, I can handle that as a thing. But again, when you're saying that that doesn't attribute top line revenue. And again, if all I'm doing is going, I got lots of money in the bank, or I see a big total sales for the day. Great. What if you didn't break even today? What if you don't break even tomorrow? So that's the story behind big numbers don't always mean success. Net profit, really realistically, is the thing. I know that I think the industry average is still 3 to 5% net profit, which I jokingly say I'm not even getting out of bed to 3 to 5% net profit. I'll probably just go on a run or a ride instead. But I got a friend in Maryland, DC area, high cost of living, and he's not only running double-digit net profit, he's running 20+% net profit. I think year to date he's 22 and he's 22.8%. There's how we get crazy with some of the guys that we hang out with. And
we're going to count that 0.8.
We're going to count that 0.8. You know why? Because it's almost 23. I can guarantee you he has his goal on how do I make this 23? And is that better routing in a truck? Is that more efficient? Did we not have a part? Did we not schedule? We're scheduling. The missed opportunities. Here at Krueger, we call it a correction of errors. I want to look at what went wrong. And I want to look at that and go, okay, this went wrong. This is why it went wrong. And then this is what we're going to do to fix it. Right. Danielle, you can relate to this. It's race strategy. And I'm going to know my race course, and I'm going to know my body, and I'm going to run I'm going to run the whole race. And so I know where I can go faster. I know where I need to go slower, but I know how I'm going to be able to stay on pace.
Yeah, I like that. Say it one more time. The correction.
Correction of errors.
Correction of errors.
Correction of errors. Right?
Yeah.
Great. We got 5-star reviews. All right. Wonderful. But we had one call that didn't go well.
Mm.
Not necessarily a bad review, but the call didn't go well. Hours it took too long in hours. The materials used were off. Why did that happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right?
and that's leadership's job. And I think too often leadership forgets that it's their job to find that correction of errors is why, and
Yeah.
analyzing yesterday all the time.
hmm Yeah. What could have we done better yesterday? How can that affect today?
Mm.
Right? That's all I need to know. I'm along with being a runner, I'm a cyclist, and I ride several of the same routes
Yeah.
consistently because I know what they're like, and then
Mhm.
I know how I ride those. But I can go, okay, I need to do this better. I need to be in this gear set. I need to be able to know where I'm going to be at. Can I push it a little bit harder? Can I not push it a little bit harder? Whatever the goal is there in within that ride, but it's knowing what it is. And guess what, guys? A service call is a service call is a service call. Replacement's a replacement. It hasn't changed. How dare I say it hasn't changed in 70 years? But our ability to microanalyze the data on each one of those and then go, okay, this one didn't hit where we needed to
Yeah.
go.
So, what do healthy, long lasting contracting companies do differently financially?
Your core leadership team understands numbers. Jack Stack, SRC Automotive, wrote a great book. It's called The Great Kin of Business. It's probably 2 decades, 3 decades old now. He's credited as one of the first companies that did open book management, right? Um, I think a lot of owners get fearful of sharing numbers with their team, or I'll just dumb it down, the score with their team because they're afraid of the repercussions that might happen when the team goes, "Oh, well, you're making tons of money."
Yeah.
And all I'm doing is getting this little old bitty paycheck, right?
Mhm.
So building something that is generational is sharing the math with your team so they realize they have that conception of this is what it takes to make this work.
Mhm.
So while you see a $10,000 invoice and think $5,000 of that just went into my pocket so I could go do
Yeah.
fun wise, oh no, it didn't, right? Out of $10,000, we may have kept $1,500 of that. And oh, by the way, that covers the bumper you dented on a truck pulling out of the gas station because you were on your phone. That profit pays for things. That's where things get paid for. They don't get paid for it out of overhead. Damage stuff, lost stuff, training time, that's all a profit thing. So again, if everything goes okay, I kept that. Now let's dumb that down to $100 ticket or $100 about a revenue. And I kept $15.
Yeah.
I can't eat lunch for $15
Mhm.
commonly. So it's looking at the mathematical side, but getting back to the root of your question is it's sharing the numbers that matter to your team and sharing them in a formula that they can understand. And they can't understand, oh, we only make 15% net profit. Okay. Well, let's look at what that looks like on paper, right?
Mhm.
As one of the team members here will say, if I have to get out my crayons for you guys, I'll do that too. And we'll put it in crayon, but we're going to share the numbers so that you get why when we say when we're scheduling 4 visits a day, this is why we're scheduling them. This is what the math looks behind that.
Mhm.
So,
Well, what I like about sharing that is then they can begin to become a part of affecting change. And they can
mhm.
all have buy-in to the company's growth and the company's, well-being and profitability. But when they don't know, it's hard to have buy-in because they don't feel like they can affect the change. But oh, you mean if I stopping at the gas station all the dang time and if I speed up my service call, I can actually help and contribute to success?
Mhm. Or when I follow the presentation script
Mm-hmm.
and I present the script exactly the way it needs to be presented, or better yet, when I participate in role play and I can present that and I can overcome objections, and then I can work through that. And here we all train on the script, and only when you can master that and work through that can you go off script. And
Mm.
guys do it,
Yeah.
but it's because they know what the script is
Yeah.
and they know how to make the pivot or twist or change to optimize taking care of the customer with the grandmother rule.
Mhm.
Fair enough. We had a technician last year, second full year in the field. He averaged a low 4-figure service ticket average. His lead flip wasn't great. He was doing a decent job of making referrals for system replacements.
Mhm.
But as a residential HVAC technician, and it's funny, his 5-star reviews absolutely raved about it. But because he was taking care of people and presenting options and then asking the question, what should we do?
Mm.
And they're like, yeah, we'd love to do this. So it doesn't take a lot of time in the industry. It just takes the desire to want to change.
Mhm.
So,
Yes, and I feel like being a little bit more open with your team, it does like open the floor to if they have a great idea, they don't feel pressured like they can't like say anything. Like, oh, they could come to the owner, the co-owner, and be like, hey, like I have this great idea, like to make things better.
Mhm.
And they're not scared to do that. So I think
and they aren't. And that's exactly what I was just explaining right there with that younger technician is he would go off script. And my initial pushback was, no, we're not doing that. We've got 5 options. We're presenting all 5. And he was very much like, well, if I'm gonna adhere to the grandmother rule, and I know that the grandmother wants this, then if the question comes up and I'm feeling like the positioning is correct, to be able to go, if they're going to ask the question, well, what would you do? Or
Mhm.
what would you recommend? I may make a suggestion,
Mhm.
and it may not always be the top option,
Mhm.
but I'm going to make a suggestion, and I am going to follow up with, but we do have some other options available.
Sure.
But I'm going to hold that conversation.
Mhm.
And versus just make a presentation, I'm going to hold a conversation.
Mhm.
And so, but if he didn't understand the math and didn't know the math behind what it took to run his service truck and what his revenue goals were, then he couldn't do that
Mhm.
because he wouldn't have a concept of that. It would just always, when it could fall through the cracks, it would, and it
Yeah.
doesn't. So,
And so it's trying to be win-win for
mhm.
the company, the customer, for
And
him,
the
the
tech.
technician. Mhm.
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 So you said
So,
something earlier that I wrote down immediately. When a homeowner calls, you have a broken piece of equipment and a broken homeowner. Told you I'd get back to this. What do you mean by that?
our job is to take care of homeowners, right? I know Danielle lives a very busy life, juggling kids, juggling running the company, and her speaking stuff, just a lot of stuff, right? Well, you wake up and the heat doesn't work or the air conditioning doesn't work, Dalton, Georgia. That's a big deal, right? And so what needs to happen when that customer calls Krueger is, as our tagline says, keep calm, call Krueger.com. I need to just go, you know what? Danielle, we got you covered. It's okay. Yep, I've got it. I've got space available for my technician. This afternoon, does noon to 2:30 work or 2:30 to 4:30 work best for your schedule? Oh yeah, no, I need it done before because I had dinner plans, whatever. And we're going to work around her schedule. And then again, when the technician gets there, it's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and look at your system. I'm going to take care of looking at that, but I'm going to get you several different options to take care of whatever I find. But the point is reassuring that homeowner that we're going to take care of them
Mm.
and make sure that they're comfortable, because they're already got anxiety. I don't need to add to that and go, oh yeah, I found your air conditioner, it's like, oh, it's R22, it's old, it's ancient, man, you probably ought to replace this right now. Hold on, let me get I already got some options for replacing this. They don't need that. They need to know that needs to come into that conversation, but going, I I can get you taken care of. I know that one of the things, and it's for us, it's what we call dirty words anti-persuasion, but it's the verbal packaging or wordsmithing, and it is, let me share all the relevant information you may need or want to make an informed decision. Have you ever heard, Natalie, has anybody ever said, I understand. I get it. Oh, I know exactly what you're going through. And the first mental thing you do is what? No, you don't. No, you don't. Yeah, you're a 20 something dumb guy who just wants his big diesel truck or whatever it is. You have no clue, right? Now I shift to Danielle when they go, oh, don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah, I get it. I get it. No, you don't. Right? If
Yeah.
you juggling
Yeah.
kids and a
Yeah.
hectic, no, you don't.
Yeah.
So we purposely coach on the word, you know what? I can relate. You're having a bad day and this was not planned. And I can relate to that because I've had those days where I woke up and something right out of the gate just hit me sideways. So I can relate.
I like that
Doesn't
word.
mean I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I get it. It just means I can relate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do we want as humans? We want
Yeah.
relatability. And so anyway, that's working with the broken homeowner. Because once I have the homeowner in the comfortable spot and knowing that we're just going to take care of them with the grandmother rule, then that's now I can move on to a broken piece of equipment. And that's where the system comes in play of being able to present options that and provide the relevant information to them so they can just make an informed decision and take care of their inanimate object that doesn't
Yeah.
care. So
Something I hate that happens in our industry. I happen to have like random paddle things for those. Let me see, let me find it. I happen to have these just sitting on my desk. Not for our episode today. For those that are just listening, I'm holding up a paddle fan that says, "Am I getting ripped off?" I feel like our industry has to fight these homeowners with this mentality of contractors are all trying to gouge me and I'm getting ripped off. And there's such a lack of trust between
mhm.
the service repairman and the home. And it drives me batty. But what you're saying, Rory, and what you're training your team is I can relate. They're showing empathy right away. They're caring for the homeowner first, and they're breaking down that barrier to trust
Mhm.
right
Yeah.
away before they talk about options, before they look at the system, before they do the diagnosis. And now the homeowner can trust them. And then they're not going to feel like I'm getting ripped off. I love
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so important.
Well, think of the thing like, well, you've got issues, right?
Mm,
You got problems. It's like,
I know
oh,
I
yeah, hold on a moment. Yeah, right. Nobody wants to hear from their spouse. Hold on a minute. You got problems, right?
do.
No, you know what? I have some areas of concern.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone ahead and looked at your system and I do have some areas of concern. Do not worry. I've got some options for you to be able to take care of that. Do you mind if I share some information with you on that? I'm asking for permission,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then now that homeowner is going to invite me in to go, absolutely, I want to know, right? So that's how you take care of a broken homeowner. And it's funny as I've said it before, I said it a little earlier, and that is Southwest Missouri is a handshake community, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we're always, our handshake is our word. And it's just taking care of them like family. And when you do that, again, you grow just like us. We've grown more by referral than we have any marketing or advertising we've ever done. And it continues to happen. And so and I realize it may be difficult in certain parts of the country, but it's still a moral, ethical fiber of our being. And that is even no matter who we are, we still want to be taken care of. We still want to make sure that we are being treated with respect and that we're getting a fair and honest and price on whatever we're making an investment in. It's pretty simple. So just teach, train, trust at the company level, and your people do that. But that brings into the hiring discussion and making sure you're putting the right people on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many times we're guilty of, I just need a person on the bus,
Yeah.
and they don't have that. And I don't remember where I heard it from, but it was like I can train the technical, I can train the coaching and the presentation. I can work at fixing all of those, but I can't fix or train your mama didn't raise you right.
Well, yeah, I say you can't train what they didn't learn at the kitchen table. Like
Mhm.
it's hard to train what they should have learned at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
That's where I need guardrails as a business owner is with the hiring process. Oh, you want a job? You want to work here? You like our company? Cool. Come on in. Right. And so that's a great example of a place that we put up a lot of guardrails on because I
Mhm.
like people. Everybody can work here. And so we've got a lot of guardrails in the hiring process because you were talking about guardrails in finances. And
Mhm.
as business owners, we need guardrails. And just as leadership team and as a company, we need guardrails all over the place where we're susceptible.
So we've gotten more team members by other team members referring people. We just had that happen. We had a technician who came to us because he knew who we were and knew what our culture was like and was looking for a lifelong home. And then he had a lead installer from that same company that he left and was saying the same thing. It's just like, yeah, I said, hey, you just to cover it. We did to cover this. It says you are welcome to make referrals. for fellow team members. And if they go awesome, then we'll take care of you for making the great referral. But if they go south, you are no longer allowed to make referrals anymore. So be careful who you say, oh yeah, you should apply, because if they turn out to be your crazy cousin, that's not going to bode well. So that's never happened, thankfully, but
Not allowed.
I thought how to keep it lighthearted. So
That's funny.
So, keeping on training your team, how do you train your team to slow down and actually take care of people emotionally, not just technically?
we've kind of covered a little bit of that there. In again, I can relate. That's really important. And getting that, because we verbally get ourselves in the role of repeating some of the same things. What are the systems and processes we use to conduct our life every single day? And are we repeating something that's really not accurate, or have we trained ourselves to do that? What is your elevator speech is what I like to ask. We want to train our team. So that's the elevator speech is the 30 to 90 seconds you spend riding in an elevator. And somebody says, hey, what do you do, Natalie? And can you tell them concisely in 30 to 90 seconds that they gets that? For me, I can go, they can go, oh, what do you do? And it's, oh, I'm in the heating and air conditioning business. And we own Krueger Heating and Air Conditioning. So if you're suffering from a heating or cooling emergency, keep calm, call Krueger.com. We'll arrive fast, fix it right for a fair price, and treat you with the respect you deserve. So just keep calm, call Krueger.com. What do you have something like that in your elevator speech where you can answer somebody's question, make them feel warm and appreciated? And are you training on it? We talked about role playing a little bit. You got to role play, guys. You just role play with your team. Role play with your team. Role play with your team. Have either of you seen a good movie lately?
I started a cartoon called Hopper,
Okay.
like Avatar with a beaver, but I
Oh
haven't
my.
yet.
Okay. Natalie, good movie.
First thing that came to my head was that movie with the giant robot and he lives in the forest and he has all the
iRobot?
Iron Giant, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Iron Giant.
Iron
Okay.
Giant.
So if you think of a good movie that you've watched, and this is the way we work with the team, because you want to break that barrier down, right? Because guys typically are like, nope, not doing that. Right? Not role playing. I'm not reading no script. This sounds stupid.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the way I break it down. And I go, what's the last good movie you watched? And they'll say something, right? Whatever it is, Superman, Batman, fill in the blank, whatever the movie is, right? Really good, wasn't it? Right? Yeah. I think the one that comes up frequently is like the Avengers, right? Really good, right? I said, you know what they do when they do movies? They write this thing called a script. And then actors, they read the script, right? And then they read the script again. And then they rehearse. You know what rehearsal could be called? Role play. And they do it again and again and again. And then they start recording it. And then they go, cut, stop, that didn't work. And then they do it again. And then they alter the lines until it just becomes what? Till they can just get on screen and then they role play the entire movie. So what you're doing in learning our systems and the way we role play and the way we present and take care of our homeowners is you're learning our movie. And so, because every service call, for all intents and purposes, is the same thing. It's a broken air conditioner. 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 The boxes didn't change. The scenery changed a little bit, but the movie was the same. So when you're really good at playing that role and living that role, and I say playing, that's a bad word, but we're really good living that role, it becomes your go-to response with our customers. So that's how you get to train your team. One of the odd things we do here is everybody who works here spends a minimum of 3 days answering the phone. Because I want a technician to know what their CSR or dispatcher is dealing with. Because our technicians, technician, you can go, oh, why didn't you get that information or this information? Or I didn't get that, or blah, 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 blah. It's all right. So you think, and most of their eyes is, it can't be that hard, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I've watched you type. It's like this, one finger at a time, right? Oh, by the way, you have a phone in your hand. So there's none of that. It's one finger, right? There's no little screen to do the whole swipey thing. So anyway, so we make them answer the phone.
Mhm.
When they answer the
Powerful.
phone, when they answer the phone, guess what happens? Now they know what that end of the spectrum is like, and they know what it takes to answer the phone. Then we get to go back and listen to call recordings and go, oh gosh, this sounds like a horror movie. It's like I just fumbled over my words. I said, If we've ever listened to that, Danielle, you've done public speaking, you know what that's like. It's just like, oh
My
god.
brother Matt, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm tally marking how many times they say
Why does that not strike me like that? Yes. Yeah.
Okay, this is gold that you're turning the service call into a movie, and you want every movie that your company participates in to be excellent because we all like a good movie. So turning that into how you train your team and role play them to have every movie opportunity that we have to be, what do we call movies when you get an Oscar? It's not like a 5-star, but
Blockbuster, Oscar winning, Oscar nominated, Oscar, yeah.
all of those things.
Golden Globes.
We,
Yeah.
we want to be the Golden Globe movie runners. So that's really gold and something that everybody should be able to pull onto for training their teams. We've got these snippets of opportunity, and let's just keep rinse and repeating the very best
Yeah.
way we can.
And the hardest one that it bears repeating specifically, it's not easy at first,
Mm-mm.
right?
Mm-mm.
Natalie, do you run?
I dabble. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, but if Danielle were to go, hey, you want to go on a run? Would you probably feel a little intimidated?
I would because she's very good.
Yes. But if you did it again and again, oh, you just said it, Danielle, rinse and repeat. We're going to do it again. We're going to go and run 3 to 5 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
If it's raining and my camelback hose freezes, I don't care. We're still going, right? We're still going to go run. We're still going to go. We're going to go. We're going to go. We're going to go.
Yeah.
The lead CSR up front this morning does either spin class or aerobics, or this morning was yoga, but she's out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Our financial person said she woke up a little early this morning, like about 4 o'clock, and she rolled over and looked at her clock and said, oh, she's getting out of bed right about now. Now, did she go ahead and get up herself? No, she just related to the other employee and went, oh, she's getting up and getting ready to go about now. Like, well, then you should have too. But
Yeah, that's funny.
that ain't. So there's a thing called the 5 a.m. club. And it's
Mhm.
those people who are consistently up at 5 a.m. because you will get more done between 5 and 8 than you will ever have gotten done between 8 and 4:30 usually, because it's the highest productive time of your brain. So
you've also said great businesses are built by people willing to admit, I don't know. Why is that so important?
well, as we've kind of covered, through this whole meeting or the whole visit here, I should say, we usually walk in with a gigantic ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a big thing, and I don't want to ask. I don't want to ask because I'm afraid somebody's going to say, well, you should already know that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you don't ask the question. You don't have the answer for it, or better yet, I'm struggling, right? And so you don't, in the midst of the struggle, you don't ask for help. And it's just human nature. I mean, I should say it's human nature to not want to have help or want to acknowledge I'm weak or can't get this. Maybe that's what I just said was I'm weak. You're not weak. You're just like anybody else. You got to have help.
Mm-hmm.
And having help doesn't mean you're bad or weak or can't do the job. It just means you need a little bit of twisting.
Mm-hmm.
I've already said that I do a little bit of moderating, mentoring for some other companies. Guess what? I've got one myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I'm going to get better. I'm going to continue to grow. But I got to have that person that's going to be able to call me out, right?
Yeah.
And I would add this nugget. If you are, and there are a lot of them, husband and wife teams in this industry, your spouse is not that person.
Mm.
Your spouse is not the person to call you out. Find somebody, whoever it is, who you can trust, who you can share, who can call out your craziness, who can put up your guardrails. But even in the working relationship, your spouse shouldn't be that person.
Really wise, Rory. And I want to ask the question to that because there are so many spouses. Are you saying it shouldn't be your spouse calling you out because it's not going to be received so well? We're going to take it as an attack, or are you saying it because they might not be the ones that see?
I I think it can be both. But I think our spouses can see things sometimes, and again, there are exceptional relationships out there.
Mhm. There are.
I would gather to guess that that's 1 in 100 or 1 in 10. There are those exceptional relationships. Now, here's the funny thing is those are the poster relationships that we see. Why
Yeah.
are we like them, right? Well, it's because they're an anomaly,
Yeah.
and that's not the way it normally works.
Yeah. No.
But we have a real hard time doing that, right?
Mhm.
At least one or the other spouse does. So again, I think about for two again, thinking back to your two questions. One, your spouse doesn't need to be the person that calls you out because
Mhm.
that usually comes with criticism,
Right.
constructive or otherwise.
Right.
And I don't want to be constrict. I don't remember in the five love languages criticism being one of those five love languages. I
It
just
wasn't
don't,
one.
right? Words of affirmation is
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
criticism is not.
Yeah.
But that that needs to be there, but more important. So yeah, because of that, and then because they see you differently.
Mhm.
They don't see you as a team member. They see you as a team member or an employee doing that job, but they also see you as their spouse.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very hard to separate that. And I know people say, oh, I can do that. Yeah, I know you say you can. It's just like all those people who say they can multitask and do all these other
Yeah.
things. And then when the reality is when you're put to the test of multitasking, most people fail miserably at it. And so yeah, those are things. And again, there are enough people out there who can be a sounding board or something to help guide you or keep put up. We'll mention guardrails again and put up those guardrails and be that person and go, yeah, no, we're not doing that today.
Mhm.
And in fact, we're not even going to do that this year because we don't have the first three baby steps done to running your business, and you're trying to be on step 10, and that's not. We're just going to end up tripping over our shoelaces, and nobody wants to trip over our shoelaces. So,
Yeah. I think we all need to give ourselves more grace when it comes to time.
mhm,
That
yeah.
we're gonna do one thing at a time. We don't need to do it all today.
No, we don't. But that again, that's part of what we started this whole conversation with was making sure you have a goal, making sure that you have a system that's going to get you to that goal, and go. These are the things that are going to make it happen this year, and only these things. We're not going to go past this because we can't. You know.
Uh,
So,
Rory, I could talk to you all day, I feel like. But this is my last
well,
question, I
I
promise.
appreciate that, and likewise, I think that's been this one of my stories to success is I love to talk. It drives my spouse nuts because I will take a 10-minute conversation and it'll go to 45. So, um,
I
so
really so when people think about your company years from now, what do you hope they remember?
it's some of it's already here, and that is, the world of heating and air conditioning in Springfield world and anywhere is huge and demanding, right? There are a lot of companies in anybody's market. There are a lot of companies in our markets. And if we didn't feel like I was any different, if I feel like we didn't bring something to the different, we probably would have never hung our shingle or opened our doors. But we really do. We add our core value, our core belief, feel that we are different in the aspect of locally owned and operated is still a thing. Family owned and operated is still a thing. Getting to know your customers, I call them clients, getting to know your customers or clients, and getting to know their families, getting to know their likes and wants, um, is a bigger picture. I can still remember early in my career taking care of a couple, Gail and Mary Noon, and she will just celebrate her 97th or 8th birthday this year.
Amazing.
Yeah, but I would go down and do the service on their house, and then I would end up with a bowl of ice cream and homemade cherry pie and a cup of coffee and watching a Cardinals baseball game.
Awesome.
And it's again, it's getting to know your customer base and really taking care of them like family because it says something about who we are.
Mhm.
And so it's nice to have the third generation involved in this thing now, because for a while there it was still on the fence. But it's interesting to see them come on board and then be able to hold those conversations. So yeah, I just want to be remembered as that company who, was just always family and always personable and followed the grandmother rule. And every call we did was its own little movie. As much as it may make some people cringe, it's every call was its own little Hallmark movie. That made people feel good, made our tech feel good, made our customer feel good.
Hallmark's the right word. I like that.
Well, because again, I can think of a couple Hallmark cards that were poorly written, but I can think of a lot more of them that were really well written.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's just that generational thing. And amazingly enough, I think there's still good companies out there that are locally owned and operated, multi-generational. So, that's what I would love to be remembered as. I don't know, 56, I kind of get kind of squirmish there thinking about being remembered, right? So
I hate that, dude. You got plenty of time.
No, legends never die. So,
yeah, okay. Well, I guess I got to live up to that one, but anyway.
well, Rory, is there any links, socials, anything you want to promote?
I'm not really. Like I said, obviously you can see the stuff behind me. If anybody needs help in our industry, I'm an open book. I've been quoted a couple of times as saying anything I'm going to talk about, anything we've talked about, any systems, formulas, spreadsheets, break-even calculators, marketing strategies, pricing strategies. Funny thing is, it's all been said or done by somebody. It's being repeated or it's being talked about again, but very little of what you're going to hear out of me usually is new and groundbreaking. It's like somebody else has said it or somebody else it's come from it. And I love to give credit where credit credit is due. And that is, some of the greats who guided me, Ron Smith, just an absolute icon in the industry. For those of you who got to know him, Matt Michelle, again, another just absolute icon in this industry. Never met a man with a bigger heart and more caring, giving heart. Or those two guys, Mr. Steve Miles, up at Jerry Kelly, again, just a tremendous man who gave and gave and gave. And there's a whole host of others, but those are some of the legacy ones. Larry Taylor, I can't forget Larry Taylor. Those guys. Oh, wait a minute, there's this guy in Georgia too, Rodney. And Ronnie Coop, and just being able to visit and hear his stories. He wrote a pretty good book, by the way. You should get it. Why won't they pay me when I'm worth? But and those are some of the people who've made a difference in my life and my journey. But everything I pulled has been from those interactions with people, and you compile it, and that there aren't any tags or social media posts there. But thanks for having me, girls. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, yeah, it was a true honor. Thank you for sharing
too.
time with us, and a lot of wisdom here. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much.
To everyone listening, bye guys.
See you guys.
If you want to learn more about the new flat rate, go to thenewflatrate.com. If you want to learn more about Krueger Heating and Air Conditioning, go to krugergeothermal.com.